Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Thomas
And I'm Mary Thomas,
of Thomas and Thomas PC,
also known as the Sales Tax Sisters.
And we're talking about audits again today. One question that we get sometimes is,
I'm not satisfied with my audit. I think I'm just going to call an audit supervisor. And it's something that really gives us pause because it's something that don't do it lightly. What happens in different audits is that what happens in every audit is that the auditor is going out there to look at your records to make sure that you have collected and remitted the right amount of tax and that you paid tax on taxable purchases, basically things that you've used in your business that were taxable. When they go out and they look at your records, they aren't out to get you. The thing about it is that a lot of times when people are dissatisfied with the audit result, there's a couple things that are going on. Either the auditor hasn't been provided with enough information to understand that what's going on isn't taxable, or something they think something truly is taxable and it's up to you to prove that it's not. It could be a misunderstanding as it relates to what happened with the transaction. It could be that there's a piece of documentation that you don't have that you need to go get before you call anybody's supervisor, before you take it out, because you're not going to take it out of the auditor's hands.
Before you escalate things.
Exactly. Talk to the auditor and say, okay, I don't agree with this item. Why is it here?
Exactly. And also know that the auditor isn't working in a vacuum. They have periodic reviews of the outstanding audits that each auditor is conducting with their supervisor. So the supervisor knows what's going on in the audit. It's not like, it's the Wild West here. They're just going off half-cocked, doing any and everything. Their supervisor knows 9 times out of 10 what they're doing, and there are specific steps that and milestones that they have to hit that their supervisor knows about, sets, and makes them responsible for hitting. So don't think that your auditor is just working in a vacuum and nobody knows what they're doing, because that's not the case.
Most of the time, that's really not the case. You may be dealing with something that's an anomaly, but most of the time, the auditors, they have procedures. They're checking in. And if something's really off and it's really off the rails, the supervisor is probably just going to internally correct it. You always have to account for human nature when you're involved in something. And the thing about it is that if I'm working with someone every day and we're in a context where we know we're going out and we're doing something that's unpopular, doing an audit of somebody for compliance and potentially issuing them a bill, that's unpopular. So if we know we're going out and it's a cordial but kind of adversarial relationship, if somebody comes in and starts cracking on the person that's out there actually doing the work, you're probably going to give deference to the person who's actually doing the work, unless that person's doing something that is completely and totally egregious.
Exactly.
And so what you want to do is, if you don't agree with something, number one, your best line of action is talk to that auditor and find out why they scheduled it.
It could be a simple case of a miscommunication. They don't quite understand what that transaction was, or they have a miscommunication about it. They have it wrong in their head. And if you're able to explain it and explain why you think that transaction should not be taxed, you may be able to come to the meeting of minds
and get it off. If they say your exemption certificate or your resale certificate was wrong, go look at it. Was it? If it was, go get a good one. And you don't need to escalate for something like that. If it's something where you don't agree with the application of a tax policy, research it. If what this auditor is saying actually does have some support in the controller's policy, then just know you may be looking at a lawsuit where you challenge the controller's policy. That supervisor, I've never seen a supervisor go in and just summarily say, well, you know what, we're not going to apply the policy as we have been told to apply it to you. But we're going to do it to everybody else.
Yeah, that didn't really work.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So if you have a disagreement, number one, you want to be on it. And we talked about this in another video. Your contact should be telling you what's being scheduled. They should be talking to that auditor so they can see what's going on, so you don't get any surprises. And what's going to happen is if you don't agree with it, you need to be talking to that auditor, making sure that they have the fact pattern correct. There are times when we deal with our clients where we go back and we say, hey, what's in this adjusting journal entry? And they don't know. So if you don't know, the auditor surely isn't going to know. They're taking some extra steps to go back in to your accountant or look at your system and say, that's what this is. And it's not, and a lot of times it can be non-taxable. We've had mistakes where we had to prove that a payroll transaction was a payroll transaction.
And the reason why it was coded in a weird kind of way, which raised a red flag with an auditor.
So, like we said in the previous video, don't take any of it personally. Go in, talk to the auditor about what's going on, what they need to see. Because you can just go in and you can say, well, you know what? I understand that you scheduled, this $200,000 transaction. That's rent.
It was coded wrong, or it's a journal entry relating to this, and that's not taxable. And it's simple as that.
Yeah. So don't get mad.
No.
Don't call a supervisor if the person hasn't done something that's out of limits. Don't call a supervisor. They know. If you call and say this person's taking so long, supervisor knows they're taking so long because they've been reporting in.
Exactly.
You may have some weirdness that goes on every once in a while, but for the most part, these are just our general attitudes about things. You really want to work within the system. You really want to respect the system, the procedures, the auditors. And there will be times when you do need to jump the track and say, okay, something weird is going on here. But those really are anomalies. And I think that when that happens, you're going to know that that is what is happening. And then, have at it. But don't just do it as a knee-jerk reaction.
Exactly.
And be ready to defend whatever position that you take.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we have exhausted this topic.
I think so too. I think we're done.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you for watching. We hope we helped you. We hope if you're going through something, we calmed you down a little bit.
We hope so. And we hope you're subscribed.
Give us a thumbs up and hit the notification buttons. And we're going to keep it pushing with this audit series.
Yeah. Bye.